For a litany of factors, I think it is a fair bet that Ashton Jeanty rushes for more yards next year than Saquon does. Saquon coming off the 2,000-yard season, the massive workload, you add the 4 playoff games. I think Coach was on to something with, are the Eagles going to prioritize the pass game a little bit more, keep everyone happy? And you know what I mean? They want it that way. They know they can go back to that. Whoever drafts him is going to be like...
Okay. We need... They keep giving me these like random Philadelphia Eagles sound bites that are like not actually like in like Eagles segments. Listen. Okay. Do I think Saquon Barkley is going to have the year that he had last year? Probably not, because he just had one of, if not the greatest running back season of all time, you know, when you include playoffs. And even if you don't include playoffs, let's be serious here. And so to think that you can just magically repeat that, like that's you know, Tom Brady only went undefeated once, right? Like, so it's not really a hot take to say that. Like that's just how sports works. And again, it's nothing against Saquon or the Philadelphia Eagles. Like that's just how life works, right? Like it's not always just up. That's just, you know, so it's not a hot take by any stretch of the imagination, or it's not even like a criticism. Like it's just life. But this idea that the Philadelphia Eagles are now going to like completely change their offense, or, you know, they're going to try to make the receivers happy. You know what makes the receivers happy? And you know what makes the team happy, and the organization happy, and the coaching staff happy, and the fans happy? Winning a Super Bowl. Yeah. Winning playoff games. So this whole idea that you're going to be able to like kind of change the style of the offense is actually pretty comically hilariously absurd. If they didn't win the Super Bowl, if they lost to the Commanders, the Rams, whoever, even the Chiefs, that would give more power to saying, guys, we got to change what we do. Because you would say, like, we weren't good enough. We did not win the Super Bowl. And so other players, you know, defensive players, linemen, it would land differently. But do you think the defense wants like, I want to make sure that Jalen Hurts is at least throwing 35 times a game? Like, that's what Cooper DeJean, you know, is going to want to talk about, right? Like, really? Fangio's going to be like, Sirianni, you better start calling more passing plays. I know you don't really call the plays, but you're the head coach, and you got to make sure that, you know, Jalen Hurts passes the ball. Like, come on, what are we doing here? Like, you're not really going to have any momentum there at all. If like they were struggling, or, you know, whatever it may be. So like this idea that they're going to change who they are. Also, there also seems to be like some major confusion about the passing game here. People are acting like Jalen Hurts just did not throw the ball, when like there were games for like the Lions, the Ravens, etc., where those quarterbacks were throwing the ball like 12 times, 18 times, you know, etc., etc. And so it's just like this idea that like Jalen Hurts was just like not throwing the ball, or that there wasn't a passing game. Like, guys, I mean, A.J. Brown had 1,079 yards. Like, what are we saying here? And he missed 4 games. Remember when everyone talks about how 1,000-yard receivers is so important? Like, you realize that if he actually played the whole season, he probably would have had around like 1,300 yards. That's not really that much of a stretch. You know, that's not much of a stretch here. And then that would have put him at around what he's done in the past, 1,400. Like, so like what are we saying? You could also probably give him a couple more touchdowns. That puts him at 9. So like what are we trying to invent here? Like, again, if you realize if he played the whole game, the whole season, you know, if he didn't miss a bunch of those games, like, do you realize that he would have been like top 5 in receiving yards? Like, he was already just practically right there. it was kind of so close together. So if you're just off by like 50 yards, like you can kind of drop down on this list. But if he just plays like one more game and gets like another 100 yards or so, I mean, he's right up there. He could have been top 3. He probably would have not caught Justin Jefferson unless he feasted. If you played the New York Giants and he just like feasted or something, which is definitely a possibility, obviously. But like he was right there. So like, what are we saying here? That AJ Brown, in order for him to be happy, needs to be above Jamar Chase? Like, is that what we're saying? Or he needs more touchdowns? Doesn't make sense. He had 7 touchdowns, and like I said, he missed a bunch of games. It's not hard to imagine that he would have had another couple touchdowns or so. So you can put him at like 9. Again, that makes him top 10. And again, like I kind of keep saying, if he actually was able to play against like the Giants or some of these lower teams where you're going to feast and you're going to boost up your stats, again, not hard to imagine that he gets like another 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. Then you're right there. So we have to stop pretending here. Like it's really absurd. And then we have Devontae Smith, wide receiver 2 over here. He had 833 yards. He also missed 4 games. It's really not hard to imagine, follow the logic with me here, that he would have had at least over 1,000 yards. It's not that stretch of, I don't think we're, being too far off here. So he would have had 2,000 plus yard receivers. Guys, like, again, what are we saying here? That's an accomplishment, is to get 1,000 yards for a wide receiver. Like, that's considered to be like, all right, 1,000 yards, let's go. That's like the benchmark that these guys use. And the Philadelphia Eagles would have had 2,000 yard receivers and a running back who was absolutely a monster. And he also had 8 touchdowns. So again, do it with me. It's not hard to imagine that he would have had another 2-3 touchdowns. Would have put him at the top in the NFL. Would have also put him at the top in yards. So you would have had essentially 2 top 10 wide receivers in rushing yards and in receiving yards and touchdowns. So like, why do we keep trying to invent narratives? It's just, come on, man. It's just absurd at this point. It really is. I don't know what we're inventing. The Eagles passed for 3,500 yards and they rushed for 3,000 yards. It's actually pretty balanced. I mean, it really is. It's not this extraordinary thing. I know they obviously had more rushing attempts, but like, that's actually becoming a smarter way to play. How do I know that? Because the Philadelphia Eagles set records, scored the most points throughout the playoffs, had one of the most dominant runs in playoff history, and had 2 of the most dominant wins in the conference championship game and Super Bowl. That's how I know that. Yeah. So it seems like what they were doing was I know this sounds crazy, but it was working. It successfully worked. So I don't understand. If Jalen Hurts threw for another like 500 yards, would we have said like, "Oh yeah, baby, let's go"? Because Jalen Hurts also missed some games. And his games played is also misleading because he technically played the one game, but then he got knocked out. So again, say it with me. He probably would have thrown for at least 100 yards, probably would have thrown for 3,000 yards. And if he also played like 16 games, 17 games, like, say it with, guys, again, say it with me. He probably would have thrown for like 3,500 yards, like, which again is pretty good. Pretty good. If he actually played the whole season, he probably would have been around 3,500 yards, which then just puts him a couple hundred yards below someone like, I don't know, do you guys know who this guy is? Matthew Stafford. He throws a lot, right? How about this guy right here, Josh Allen? Pretty sure he was the MVP. Pretty sure he's absolutely unbelievably amazing. So you're right in striking distance from these quarterbacks who we say, Matthew Stafford, right? Let's it rip. Josh Allen, let's it rip. Like, I don't understand. Aaron Rodgers threw a ton. How'd that work out for him? Brock Purdy, how'd that work out for him? Kyler Murray, how'd that work out for him? Geno Smith, How'd that work out for him? Joe Burrow. How'd that work out for him? You guys are noticing some patterns here, right? We don't have to invent narratives. The NFL is flushed with like real stuff, real narratives, real stories, real stats, concrete things. Like we don't have to invent things. But I just want to know, like, what would be the number? What number would make people happy with this passing game? Like, again, Jalen Hurts would need, like, AJ Brown would have to be the number one receiver with in terms of in the NFL with receptions, and Devontae too, and he would have to throw more than, I guess, Aaron Rodgers, more than Sam Darnold. Like, I don't know, man. I really don't get it. When you actually really think about it and you really do the math and you're like, no one's really criticizing Josh Allen for how much they pass the ball. And again, Josh Allen's a beast and a monster and doesn't deserve criticism. But like, we just because they had such a dominant run game, a historic run game, it doesn't mean that they just didn't pass the ball. Like, that's not what that means. And just because they were able to win games where they didn't have to pass the ball that much, like, the name of the game is to win games. So like we gotta put this narrative to bed. And if there was pressure from AJ Brown to be like, throw the ball to me more, first off, I would just sit down and show him this stuff. And number one, and number two, I guarantee you there would be no support in the locker room. If they were losing, if they didn't win the Super Bowl, for sure, I could totally see it. And it would be easier to get the CJ Gardner Johnsons of the team, the Cooper DeJeans of the team, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you would be able to get those guys to be like, yeah, come on, man, what is Jalen Hurts doing? We got to throw the ball more, guys. Come on, let's go. But like, you just won a Super Bowl, and you were dominant in that Super Bowl. And you saw what Jalen Hurts did, and you had the O-line hugging Jalen and saying, "Man, I love when they doubt you." You had Devontae crying, unable to make eye contact with Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts pretty much, big brothered him and was like, like, I got you. And it's just like, and you think that there's going to be pressure to go beyond that? We don't have to invent anything. There's nothing. That's the beauty of the NFL. In the NBA, you got to invent stuff. Because it's like, oh my God, it's October. The Lakers just beat the Memphis Grizzlies. Yippity doo dah. Who cares? You got to really try to fight stuff. That's why they were like, can LeBron James beat a grizzly bear? And they're like, I don't know. LeBron James is pretty good, but at this age, I just don't know if he could beat a grizzly bear. And it's like, yeah, okay, sure. You don't got to do that in the NFL. You don't got to do that in the NFL. We don't got to invent anything. We don't got to make up anything. It's going to be okay. It's the beauty of the NFL. It's wildly popular. They give us stories all day, every day, 365. We don't have to invent stuff. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles having pressure to throw the ball more, change things up, de-emphasize Saquon Barkley, make Jalen Hurts earn that paycheck? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.